And welcome to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. Hello. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday here in Melbourne, Victoria, your lockdown state. A big thank you to Tony, or as he's known around the office, Why Not? Because, why not? And the Y-Files and crew, always, excuse me, always, always a good conversation as always. I've said always too many times. I always get that wrong. Hey, if you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to the website freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can, because Revolution Radio is 100% listener supported, 100% volunteer, the number one talk radio station on the internet that is totally funded by you, the listener, and Studio A and B, 24 hours a day. So what's 144 times 2? A lot. Anywho, please donate what you can within reason. We love those promissory debt notes from the Federal Reserve because we still have to pay bills. That may all change by the end of the year, but we're here to have a look. And once you're actually at the website, pop into the chat room and hang out with awesome people. And yeah, they're all awesome. The one I don't like's not there. Also, if you want to buy some merchandise, some swag, there is a link there to purchase T-shirts, hats, and onesies for the little ones. Now, it is July 1st on most of the planet at this point in time, and we've made it. We're halfway through. That's right. Yes, 2020. It's only been 6 months. Oh dear, your God. 21. It feels much longer. Remember those heady days of February? We were young and free and warm. It's winter here at the moment. It's not that cold, but still. Yeah. Tonight's show is brought to you by SJ's Ninja Dojo for Squirrels. It is teach your squinger and let your rodent defend you. I'm producing myself. There we go. All right. So yeah, I think most of this show it will be. Let's look back at the last 6 months of pure hell, and hopefully that works like so. Oh, thank you, stupid Skype. I believe it's working though, and I'll just write that down for Ron, or later on, as we say here in Australia. Before I get to what I'm calling the fake headline news, which is stuff that I've actually just popped up on my radar and couldn't be bothered reading the articles, we've been joined by the Pones, the Pony Pones. Pony, are you there, sir?
No, I am Asteroid Boy.
Ooh, and one day he's going to grow up to be a moon.
I shoot lasers out of my end.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Children maybe listening, maybe, but maybe they're being in trouble. Don't make me. Oh, that's it. I'm tying you to a chair, and you can listen to that very attractive and funny man from Australia, and Monty. All right. Also, I'll plow through. I've got a page and a half. I have big writing, so don't worry. It's not going to take that long. But these are my headlines from for Planet Collingwood, and if one floats your boat, we'll have a chat, and or we'll come up with something we could talk about, knitting and donuts, or knitting a donut. John Z has also joined us, our Eastern Board correspondent from the United States. John, how are you, sir?
Do you have coffee with those donuts?
No, it's pronounced coffee, and only in a purple mug. There, a bit of New York humor there for you.
Oh,
yeah,
purple.
Yeah. Purple. No, purple. Say it with me. Purple.
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 I can't even say it. Oh man, that's so Australian.
I have my coffee in my purple mug, and I have my donuts. Okay.
No, see, you're doing like South Jersey now.
Yeah. Really, I'm 16,000 kilometers away, and you're nitpicking. Oh, you're clearly on the other side of the Hudson. Why do I know that? Right. Now, okay, let's plow through these headlines. Your name's not Dave. Okay.
Can I go first in stupid news?
Oh, okay. That just throws the whole running order, which I don't have. So, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, this happened while I was in the deli. They had the TV on, and I hear the news report come on. it went something along the lines of caught on video, man in Harlem shooting in the street. Okay. So, they play the video and I hear like the gunshots, whatever. And I turn around and they say,
Okay, everyone's leaving. Yeah, I was on mute, and everyone's just lost me. So, come back, everybody. Come back. That's extremely odd. Also, I'll ring, and then I'll ring, and see what happens. So, okay. I don't know. Pones dropped off, and then everyone else followed. So I'm just gonna ring Pones again, see if he wants to join us. I don't know. I didn't sacrifice small animals to the Skype god, so I'm not sure what happened there.
that's unfortunate.
Yes. So it just got to where you said, and they said, and then you dropped.
Oh, I guess someone was looking out for me, I guess. So as I turn around, they say, man in wheelchair in Harlem. And I'm like, huh? And so they cut back to the video, and there's just a guy in the wheelchair, and like I don't know any of the context. I just literally saw this, grainy video of it. But there's a guy in a wheelchair popping off shots in the middle of the street, and he's not even aiming at anything. You just see like the recoil of the gun is like moving it everywhere, and he's just popping shots down the street in a wheelchair. And I'm like, what is going on? Have we gotten to that point where we're just gonna shoot down the street?
Sounds pretty random.
It sounds very Wild West. Like, is the United States regressing 150 years?
I think we need to.
Well, in a good way, I hope.
I saw a clip of a guy walking a goose across a crosswalk yesterday. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
Maybe, but that sounds pretty normal compared to the stuff that I've got. So
go right ahead.
Okay. Now, but before that, we have been joined by HiJacker. HiJacker, how are you, sir?
Pretty good, Deacon. I'll just ride shotgun. Looks like you got a good crew. So yeah, go ahead.
Deacon.
Hey, don't step on my line, John. It's Monty, but I like the praise. So, I don't mean being called Deacon. He's awesome.
Oh, did I call you Deacon?
Yes, you did, sir.
Oh, just habit.
Yeah, that's what it's. I didn't want to bring it up. Okay, now for my headlines. Here we go. Fake crimes are on the rise, and fake hate crimes are on the rise, and real hate crimes aren't. If you've noticed that. That's with the NASCAR, and although white people having the crap bean out of them, and the media's ignoring that. This one I found interesting. Pilots in fatal plane crash in Pakistan were distracted by coronavirus, says minister. Now, another headline pointed out they were chatting about it. But that's the media for you. They're distracted by coronavirus. They started coughing. But yeah, they were talking, and that's what. This is an interesting one. I'm going to say that a lot, actually, because this is all just weird crap. My Little Pony fan site has a Nazi problem. I figured that one out. Yeah. White supremacy through animals. This is a good one. The Twitter war between Africans and African Americans is heating up. In short, the Africans are saying, shut up. Let's see. Chess is racist, apparently. Lord of the Rings is just Harry Potter for racists. I saw that on Twitter as well. This footage I saw on social media. Did you ever see a seagull eat a rat? That's interesting footage. It's just nonchalantly, I'm just going to eat this entire rat. This one, it may be controversial. The worst thing to say to a Jew is oven dodger. I just don't. No, do not say that to people. Evil and wrong. Ozzy Osbourne's been hired to interpret Joe Biden's speeches, so that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be great.
The latest thing in the entertainment world is a lot of voice actors who play people of color are now quitting. So only people of color should voice people of color characters, which brings up problems about Terminator. Do we only get robots? And only Nazis can play Hitler now. So that's going to be an interesting read-through for the script. Deagle.com, this is for the researchers. Deagle.com, they've changed their numbers, and so their numbers have fluctuated. They were 5 years ago, and they projected 10 years into the future. Everyone takes a 30% hit apparently in population. However, we don't know if everyone's moving around. Some countries go up, some countries go down. So that's deagle.com if you want to look at that.
So you're saying the world. Every nation basically takes on average a 30% hit. Is that what you're saying?
Roughly, yeah. And world population drops about 500 million as well, according to their numbers. So they don't really.
If every country takes a 30% hit, that's a third. So how they get up to?
Well, no, I may have misspoke. It's not every country, but some countries actually go up. But it's interesting, like Canada, United States, Ireland, and UK, their numbers go down. Australia goes down about 20% as well, but other places are going up. It's I didn't do much research into that, but it's out there to have a look at.
That's pretty good, Monty. That's pretty good. So that's at Deagle.com or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is important. Go ahead.
Yeah. In the South, in the United States, you're no longer allowed to call it a master bedroom because that brings up connotation of slavery.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's the level of stupidity. Here's one from the Vaults, which is about a year old. Height privilege. This is from Berkeley University. How it disproportionately affects transgender people of color and fuels rape culture. Because you're tall. Right. From the BBC, countryside is racist. That was an interesting article because, it's wonderful out there, but it's mainly for just white people go to the country. Like, what? You've had, now I know a lot of people would have seen this. You've had rooftop Koreans, but in St. Louis, you have front lawn Caucasians. And the mean factory is going off. Those two rich people, they live in a gated community, and Black Lives Matter broke into it, and they got on their lawn with guns and said, "Don't come near us," which is very American, very Second Amendment, and they were on private property. Duh. And let's see, cancer culture is getting out of hand, of course. So I'm just wondering when Jim Carrey will be blamed for greenface. He's done this twice in The Mask as well as The Grinch. Apparently Jesus' real name is Gary Stew, which is a thing from Mary Stu. Mary Sue. What else? What the hell is? I can't read my own writing. Oh, Iran wants Interpol to help arrest Donald Trump for the drone strike on the general he killed in January. Good luck with that. This is now I need your help because I have no idea how to say this, but China imposes forced abortion and sterilization on the Uyghurs. I think Uyghurs. So that's genocide, ladies and gentlemen. Sebastian Bach, the singer, only a moron would vote for Trump. Well, I put to you, sir, that only a fracking idiot would vote for Joe Biden because he can't even speak proper. No idea. Australia to build the larger and more aggressive military to prepare for post-COVID disorder, $270 billion, which is a lot here in Australia. Not in the United States, but here in Australia, which begs the question, what do they know? Here's a Biden quote for you. Government has failed you, and yet he's been in government for 47 years. That's good voting. Here in Victoria, we're having it looks like our second wave. They're not calling it, but we had 73 cases of coronavirus in the last 24 hours. And New South Wales, which borders Victoria, is going to ban Victorians from the hotspots. And if you are found from these hotspots in New South Wales, you may get up to 6 months jail and $11,000 in fines. Part of the Victorian lockdown, 10 postcodes have gone into lockdown. That's where all the hotspots are. I think I could be wrong. There has been 12 deaths here in Victoria from the virus, maybe 24 all over Australia. Please in chat correct me if I'm wrong. On the other hand, we've had over 100 people die in the roll toll in the same amount of time, and there's been over 300 suicides in the same time. But you got to stick with that whole narrative. And last but not least, here in Australia, the GST turns 20 years old today, and the father of the GST, which is former Prime Minister John Howard, says, "Oh, we should try and lift it." And it's like, well, I remember you in 1987 saying there would never be a GST. I know a politician lied. So that's the headlines from Planet Collingwood. So anything float your boat there, ladies and gentlemen?
I saw UNICEF come out with an ad with an alien in it to highlight maybe racial differences or to be a precursor for a blue beam thing. Is Pony there?
Let me just check I believe so.
I just wanted to bring up what.
Hang on. I'm just cancelling my Little Pony membership. No, I kid. I actually run the website. Sorry. Go.
That makes more sense. Go ahead, Cortek.
Just what Pony said 2 weeks ago about the whole trial thing for that murder, and Pony's call 2 weeks ago. I think you're bang on the money, and I just heard some other people talking about it. In terms of the footage and a court of law, it might be half proven. It might be able to be proven that, he.
Are you talking about the first case?
Yeah, he might have been having a heart attack already.
Okay, I don't know anything of how that's going to work, but what I did find interesting is when I called Deacon and HiJacker this morning, my time, that I'd read they're going to have a day in court on September the 11th. It's like, come on, man, just pull that date out.
Ding, 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 ding.
That sounds like a setup from the very beginning.
Yeah, that sounds like Cabal numerology right there. Because nothing's ever happened on 9/11 all through history. Nothing at all.
Never. Yeah, I think that was bang on the money. So I think people should get prepared for that's the way it's going to go.
Oh, I don't know, man. The virus. Jack has got some good stuff with the. Man, I think they're sticking us with the cotton buds. The virus. It's like, all right, needles. Yeah, try this one.
Yeah, I've seen people reporting that they're already tainted, and like some nurses have been sending them off with fake names, and they come back positive, and they've never been used. And right. It's that whole narrative, especially like Pony. I don't know if you've seen today where like Victoria and everything else like that with the lockdowns and all. They're still pushing this narrative now. For a bit of reference, yes, there is a virus. Not everyone should get sick, but it's not like the Black Plague where you'll die in 48 hours.
It's a common cold, isn't it?
I go catch a train or bus, and you hear over the loudspeaker like the guys like, COVID, please. It's like a militarized zone around this place.
Please get your papers ready.
And I wanted to throw in one more story and then hand it off to someone else. They blamed a plane that crashed in Pakistan on the COVID virus. Apparently the pilots were talking about it and crashed the plane. Google it, mate. It's absurd.
Yep. I don't think you were on the call, but I did mention that and the interesting thing is I had to go to two headlines. The second headline explained that they were just chatting. In the first one, they were distracted by coronavirus. It was like what? They were, guess who? Tap on the shoulder. But it was basically they were talking about it, which, begs the question, how are those people talking? Like, you don't... By talking to someone, how can you be distracted when you're flying a plane?
Yeah,
I mean, can you chew gum? Can you chew gum? Can you chew gum and walk at the same time? Because if you can't, I don't think you should be piloting a multi-million-dollar transport vehicle.
He's a good pilot, but don't talk to him.
Yeah. and what happened? The stewardess has to come on? This is the stewardess speaking. I'm reading a letter from the pilot that he wrote before we took off. It's getting very clown world. It's just ridiculous. However, there seems to be another one, Alyssa Milano, who seems to be wants to prove that she's insane each week on Twitter, is now saying that cancel culture is being taken over by the alt-right and is being weaponized. Because, if you do anything wrong, yeah, it's just that's the reality we're in. So, but yeah, if everyone wants to have a chat about, like, it's only been 6 months. It's the 1st of July. It's the start of the economic year, financial year. Is there any finance out there? And yeah, it's like, does it feel longer? It feels like a decade. I have different trying to go back to January.
Watch dates are coming up, man. Got 7/7, 7/11. You've got Roswell dates coming up all next week, so should be interesting. See what cards they pull. We know they pull operations around the same time on their anniversaries.
There's an eclipse coming up as well, isn't there?
I'm unaware of that one.
Because there's 3, and so it may be. And you also have the 4th of July, which is the celebration of the United States. That's going to be interesting because
attached to that this season.
Say what? Can you repeat that?
It's flu attached to the 4th of July this season, as in the metaphor. They were going to go on strike, and so they had the flu around the 4th of July. The police in America, that is.
Don't know, but it's there's over 300 million people, so a lot of things can happen. Go ahead.
They're basically saying they're not going to arrest you if you're going to shoot off fireworks this year.
All right. Cool. And there's also a comet in the sky, Neowise, right now, so that's another one to decode. I got nothing,
cool.
by the way.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering with the fireworks, can you just say that you're protesting and you'll be fine?
I don't know how any of this works nowadays.
Well, yeah, it is just. There is a conservative commentator. She's half Australian, half American. Don't ask which half. Excuse me. But she just released a 11-minute video saying she's just had enough with the insane far right, and she sounded like us. Let's be fair, where it's like you've got the far left politics, where the far left is controlling everything. They're in the media and they're everything else like that. Where she put forward in Minnesota, I'm sure there's people in Minnesota that are saying, you know what, this whole disbanding the police department, not a good idea. And she went on, and people are getting to that threshold where they're going to break. And the best way of doing it is to do it in the right way. However, you've been locked down for months, and it's going to be an insane summer in the Northern Hemisphere, and especially the United States in an election year. The good thing about the coronavirus down here is because we're in the winter, why would you go outside? It's freezing.
I heard they said a new flu was coming out of China as well.
From
type of swine flu.
Yeah, swine flu, and I'm sure someone's going to connect that to the police because it's a pig.
Hey, that guy that Jacker was talking about when he said he dreamed of vultures, and then they turned into gargoyles. Man, I couldn't help but think of Batman, the movie v Superman, where he's actually dreaming of these winged creatures coming down and taking the people away, and it's a dream sequence within the movie. And I actually don't know where it stems from. It's like sort of out of place. Maybe Monty.
That is apparently a possible future, but because the movie was made terribly, you weren't aware of it.
Right. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Yeah. So getting back to this this secondary flu, this second round, basically. So we know the lesser magic. They got to tell us before they do something. So this is what happened today, and this is what Pony was talking about, where they found a second flu in China in the pigs. And so Fauci, he was for some reason, I never knew this committee existed, but it's the Senate Health and Education and Pension Committee. And he showed up there, and this is what he said. He says, we have found out that there is a swine flu coupled with a Spanish flu, strains of the Spanish flu in the pigs in China. It's called G4NA-H1N1, and it's in the pigs. And he's unsure if it's going to jump, but he says basically the Spanish flu, which he's been connected to a lab working with this particular guy where they reconstituted the Spanish flu of 1917, the one that killed about 50 million people. I mean, a real flu, a real bioweapon, right? And they say, well, we had to reconstitute it to develop an antibody as a defense in case the Russians or the Chinese developed the Spanish flu. But anyways, so what he said today, he says, there's a chance that this particular flu can not collaborate, intermix with the Kovan-19, and that's what we could be seeing for the summer. Now, if you listen to what he's saying, and if he is using lesser magic, basically telling us what they're getting ready to do, and if you correlate that with the 3 dreams that this guy had, which one of the dreams came true, he was the one and only one that predicted mask, riots, COVID-19, people at hospitals, ventilators, the whole works, back in December. Then that would correlate with his timeline where in September, something tremendous happens, and he thinks it's the second wave, or basically because they're locking us down now, it could be the 3rd wave. But if that's true, that's the way you would get to the glide path of in November, where all hell breaks loose. Basically, there's millions of Americans that have died from the Spanish flu going into the election. The Democrats want paper ballots. Trump says no. They either have an election or he declares martial law. It blows up. The left is upset. It could even go to the Supreme Court, and they could say, no, we're going to delay it. The left goes into D.C. The deep state decides to burn D.C. And so you got D.C. on fire, you got a civil war, and you got a real virus, a real Spanish flu killing people. And that would bring in the blue helmets, the UN, the Chinese and Russian soldiers that this guy's talking about in his 3rd dream. And then you got the economic collapse. So I want to just give that information out there that Fauci's came out today, and he goes, basically a swine flu has mixed with the Spanish flu in pigs, and there is some threat on the horizon. Go ahead.
I feel like I've seen this movie.
Yeah, it does kind of suck. But having the information out, going a bit woo-woo, having the information out, we on a soul level was like, I don't like that timeline, and so by wearing it and not feeding it, we're aware of it, and we've just gone no, and I do not consent, and so humanity can miss a bullet that way. I would find it interesting if that started to happen, because most of the planet is in lockdown. So how did this virus, you know what I mean, is they're still allowing people to go around, move around the planet, and
there's some theory, Monty, that there's actually teams that are taking the COVID-19 and they're going into nightclubs, they're going into venues, particularly in Texas, Florida, and they're actually spraying this crap. Now, this is not
monkeys.
Right. This is not the swine bird flu mixed with the Spanish flu stuff. This seems to be a completely different strain that Fauci's talking about. But I only see a couple of, like, 2 ways to defeat it. And, I'll go, Tucker Carlson, he goes into what happens if the Democrats take over the United States government in November. And he actually, for 2 or 3 minutes, he says, this is going to be your reality. If you want, I'll go get him. He did it today. It's only like a 3-minute clip, 2-minute clip. And he basically says, look, this is it. we all got to fight right now for this cowardly Republican Party, or it's over if the Democrats take over. So if I run and get the clip, Monty, you want me to play it? It's about 3 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, if everything's working perfectly,
Okay,
that'd be totally fine.
Go ahead. I'll try to find it. Go ahead.
Okay. It's turning point change. It seems that reality's just ramping up the energy of like, oh, you haven't done anything yet. Let's just turn that dial up. And there's going to be a lot of not the same similar thing to what Viking's saying. There's a silent army, but from that Sydney Watson video, she said that a lot of people are just like, oh, that's happening over there in the blue cities, and it's not affecting us in these red towns. But if you let it go, they're not going to. If you ignore it, they'll go away. That's not happening, and it's still continuing. However, you've got the pushback of like Chaz or Chop or Cuckstan, whatever it's called, has finally, I think, collapsed because they went up to the mayor's place or something. It became personal, but they should. I think it's almost the same level of treason, because these elected officials are supposed to protect the people that voted for them, and they're allowing an autonomous state in the middle of Seattle. How, like, what do you do? It's, most, was it New York Times saying not every city is dangerous, like the president says. Yeah, there's one city, I think Jacksonville in Florida, which is Republican, all 2 independents, and the other 17 are all Democrat states. Here in Australia, they're not Democrat, but it's Labor, and it's not, I hate saying liberal because here in Australia, the Liberals are conservative. Welcome to Australia. But it's interesting that Victoria seems to be the centre point of all this chicanery. And someone put up on, I think, Facebook, the new map of Australia, and Victoria's been removed. And so being a Victorian, we feel sort of isolated even more now because of, apparently it's all community transmission. Nothing to do with the protests 2.5 weeks ago. Let's not bring that up.
What are the numbers?
Well, it's 73. I think it's the 3rd or 4th day of high numbers, but they're testing everyone. They're going to sort of do lockdown where there'll be like a booze bus. What's the American version of that? Where you get breathalyzer and everything else like that.
I thought they were doing that already. Did you guys not? I thought we all locked down at the same time. Why is
Paddy wagon?
Yeah, we have rented them, yes. Well, Victoria was going to start rolling back the restrictions, and then there was a spike, strangely enough, 2 weeks after the Black Lives Matter protests. And so, like, restaurants were going to start opening up instead of 5 people to 20 people and everything else like that. But they're blaming all families and community. And apparently 1,000 people in those postcodes hotspots refused to be tested as well. And they always just go, oh, they're being tested and we found cases of COVID. They haven't pointed out, like, 10,000 cases, 200 people are in hospital. And out of those, 12 or 15 unfortunately died. They never sort of finish the thought.
Yeah. Do you think the numbers are able to be relied upon, or is just classic statistics people just make up off the top of their head?
A bit of both. Unfortunately, that's the weirdness we're in, where there seems to be a duality of it all, where yes, there is a virus and you don't want to be sick, but they've blown it way out of proportion and they're trying to keep the narrative going. As I said, we've had, I think, 117 people die on the roads in the same amount of time.
Were they all reported as being COVID related?
I'm not sure.
Because that plane crash before in Pakistan being reported as a COVID issue, that's sheer stupidity. Regardless of what conversation they were having, it shouldn't be reported as that being the cause. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're pushing
we
the
know
fear.
Hospitals are being misreported. Cases of, what's the kind of water on the lung kind of thing that's getting misreported. I've seen kind of messages from people who had friends commit suicide that been reported as COVID. Shenanigans. Over.
I know. Basically, what we're trying to point out, Cortek, is our the corrupt system is corrupt, and it's been exposed completely. And I think it's like, what do we do is the question, because go ahead.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I will just have you know that given the proper justification, I can make a flowchart do loop-de-loops.
Well,
Just let that blow your mind.
It just reminded me I didn't write it down, but apparently the Cocoa Pops monkey is racist, and so they're coming after cereals now.
Are you serious? Wow.
I'm so cereal. HiJacker, have you got that clip?
Yeah, I got it. It's only 2-3 minutes, and basically what Tucker does, he does a synopsis that in 128 days, or maybe it's now 127 days, if the Democrats take power, this is basically what our world's going to be. And so,
are we talking about a mainstream newscaster talking this?
Oh, but it's the one who's bucking the system.
So why are we listening
no, he's
to
not
this?
mainstream. John Z, he's not mainstream. He's on the verge of getting either let go or fired, or either running himself. But here's what he's got to say, and you can tell me whether he's mainstream or not. And so just mute up, and then I'll play him. I think I got it at the right spot, and let me get the right sound. Here we go.
Problem. In a moment like this, it is a severe and dangerous problem. Here's why. Republicans at all levels could lose this fall. If they do, there will be profound consequences for you. People who supported Donald Trump will be punished. There's absolutely no question about that. There's never been an American political party as radical and as angry as the Democrats are now. Imagine them with unlimited power, and that's what they plan to get. In their first year, Democrats will give voting rights to every illegal alien in this country and then encourage many others to join them from abroad. At a minimum, that means more than 20 million new Democratic voters overnight.
What that means Republicans will never get power again. He's going to go into it.
No Republican will win nationally again. We will have one-party rule. But Democrats don't plan to stop there. In Congress, they will abolish the filibuster. That means they'll be able to do whatever they want to do with just a simple majority.
So what he's talking about, the American system, and this is why nothing gets done in the Senate, is because Mitch McConnell is going along with the 60 vote. You need at least 60 votes in order to bring a bill on the floor. Instead of using the Republicans' majority, they can change the rules. They can do it at 51, and all these Republicans can basically pass all kinds of legislation or get it through at least the Senate, but they won't do it. They're sticking at 61. What Tucker's talking about is as soon as the Democrats get power, then it's going to be majority rule, and they will take the Senate. They'll have the House and the presidency. Just another minute or two.
Which they will have. They plan to pack the Senate by making the District of Columbia a state. Giving statehood to D.C. is unconstitutional, clearly, but they're not worried about that. They plan to pack the Supreme Court, too. They've said so. So what will Democrats do with all of this untrammeled power? It's pretty easy to imagine. We won't go into details right now. We don't want to wreck your night. But look around. You've got a pretty good idea of what's coming. The point is, and it could not be clearer, non-Democrats in America are in peril. We're going to need someone with power willing to come to our defense. And that's where people like Mike Braun come in. That was the point of last night's interview. Not to humiliate a specific senator, but to remind the Republican Party that it is our only shield. Yes, the Republican Party is infuriating, though it often is. The fact remains the GOP is the only institution still open to the rest of us, to Americans who want to live as they did just 15 years ago, quietly, productively, without being harassed and harangued by self-righteous lunatics who mean them harm, and they do. If you want to be left alone to do your job and raise your family in this country, you will need a protector. That protector must be the Republican Party. There are no other options, but it must be a very different kind of Republican Party. Keep in mind, we're getting a new Republican Party no matter what happens. Even now, vultures wait just off stage to swoop in and claim the GOP for themselves once Donald Trump is gone. Former Governor Nikki Haley tops that list, but there are many others on it. The moment Trump leaves, they will attack him. They'll tell you that Republicans lost power because they were mean and intolerant, just like Donald Trump. And if you listen carefully, you can hear them say that even now. It's a lie. Republicans are failing for a much more obvious reason, a more fundamental reason. They're failing because they haven't done much that is worth doing. They haven't tried very hard to improve your life. When the crisis came, they fled. They did nothing to defend you. They did nothing to defend the country. They were paralyzed. Their so-called principles turned out to be bumper stickers they wrote 40 years ago. They had no clue what to do.
So you get the gist of what he's saying. He's basically saying it's over for at least the America, and actually it's going to be over for everybody. And this would actually fall in line with those dreams that this guy had, that November all hell basically breaks loose. And so Tucker's basically sounding the call that, look, if we don't stop this thing right here and right now, once the Democrats get power, it's not going to be just that they pack the Senate or they pack the Supreme Court, which, by the way, Teddy Roosevelt did. He tried to get 15 total of 15 Supreme Court justices. They're going to go after the guns, like what Biden said. If you got an RA-15, your GD right, I'm going to take it. So that's what you're looking at. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not going to speak to this guy's intent. I'll just speak to what he said. So basically what he's outlining is the problem we have to deal with. And there are multiple problems. Yes, they are problems. However, what I noticed there, at least what was very glaring, especially at the beginning to me, was that divide and conquer. Get two sides, create a wall, create two sides. Left versus right, blue versus red, etc., etc. We keep saying the same things. Go on, guys. And now I'm not saying that that isn't a problem if Democrats get in or this or that or well, guess what? The whole thing is messed up, guys. The whole thing is messed up at this point. What like
it does kind of solidify that whole kind of two sides against each other. I'd like to ask a question about this dream guy or whatever, just to put that to bed. I mean, does he have a history of prophetic dreams? If not, it's a dream, you know?
No, he's never actually come on and actually did a prophecy dream. Even
has he had a history of having prophecy dreams being correct?
He nailed the pandemic. He nailed the Kovan and the worldwide shutdown in March, all the way back in December.
We were in it by March, weren't we?
Anyway, but not December.
I don't think we should take. Well, I don't think we should take note of people drink too much.
Go ahead, John.
No, what I'm saying is that his claim to fame is not only the nature of his dreams, in which he is given a calendar and a date and a hand that actually rolls through the calendar and taps certain months, and then he's given visions of what's going to happen. I mean, he aced the first dream.
Sorry.
Right, go ahead.
No, I was just asking the simple question, and they have a history of being correct. Is that right?
No, he doesn't do it. He didn't claim to be a prophet. No, he didn't even want to do this thing.
Here's the problem with prophetic dreams, dude. I've had dreams before, and yeah, some of them have come true. Just like, it's like a 50-50 chance, man. And look. Here's the honest truth about foresight, guys. Even if you knew down to the absolute millimeter of detail how to change something, I guarantee you, living with that knowledge of this quote-unquote foresight is extraordinarily more bad or worse than just going with it the first time and experiencing it. And, look, where the chips fall, that's where they fall, guys. And I'm not saying give up here. I'm just saying there's a point where if you go looking too far, especially in front in this foresight that we're talking about, it becomes something completely different. We should not be messing around with this stuff. And yeah, it's interesting
John,
to kind of
him.
it's interesting to contemplate, but do not take anyone's word for what's going to happen.
John Z, he's the only guy in the whole world that predicted the pandemic and the mask and the burning of the cities and the people at the hospitals and the ventilators before anybody else, before it was ever a reality.
Okay. All right, so he got one.
Right, and he didn't even want to publish it. Have you listened to the tape? Have you listened to the little 10 or 11 minute clip where he goes through the 3 dreams?
Who's the guy, HJ? What's his name?
It's a Covington. Dana Covington. I can play the little 10, 11 minute clip. You can hear it in his voice.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you heard it? Have you all heard it?
No, I haven't heard any of this until this point.
Mainly
You're
because
kidding me. You haven't heard. It's viral. It's the talk of everybody, because here it is, a guy, some pastor and some backwoods fundamentalist, tongue talking.
You just took my argument right out of me. Like, you're agreeing with everything I was about to say.
And also, the way that 2020's been going, who knows what's going to happen at the end of July? There's so much in flux, and I think by showing
July and August is kind of a lull time, and that the big thing that gets kicked off starts in September, and then when we get to November, that's when we get to like Civil War, Washington D.C. burning, UN troops.
I don't think so. I think we got a little bit more time than that, bud.
Well, yeah, it's here in Victoria. It's July now, and it seems to be that they seem to be pushing. They're not calling it the second wave yet, but it looks like there's more cases and everything else like that. Where are they up to 1 million cases now? It's someone's trying to push the narrative through. That's what it looks like. Yeah,
they're just making numbers up. Monty, have you heard the dream? Have you heard that little 10, 11 minute clip? Have you heard it?
No.
When did she make it, and what does she say roughly? Sum it up.
No, he.
Oh, it's he.
Yeah, he's a pastor of a little church. He didn't even want to do this thing, but his little Bible study group said, "Look, you predicted all this stuff in December. You can't keep your mouth shut." And then he had 2 other dreams. If you haven't heard this clip, let me play it again, Monty. It's up to you.
Hold on here.
No, you can judge for yourself. It's only 10, 11 minutes.
Forgive me for crossing a boundary here. People need to stop looking for a goddamn savior.
No, this is a guy. That's a nobody.
Yeah, it's a prediction.
Look at the faith that you're putting in him. He's a human.
No, listen to you. You don't even know what he has said.
I don't need to.
Oh, you just write him off. Oh, Albert Einstein, the ignorance part.
No, you've brought it up. I've started to think about it. Okay, that's enough for me at the moment. Again, foresight and knowing it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Period.
Okay, well, that's according to you.
But also, if I can throw this in, 7,000 people meditated and it stopped terrorism for a day. And so that's the power that humans have. So by people being aware of this, they can put energy into it not happening.
Or it happening, as well.
Has anybody on the call heard this guy describe his 3 dreams in the 10, 11 minutes where he lays it all out?
No.
To get back to what Monty was saying.
Yes, I have.
Funny.
And I found it fascinating, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And I had this before. No, it was during Deacon and Jacker's morning show, and I had a peek, and I found it interesting, to say the least. Yeah,
no.
like arguing over gaming it out. Who's this? Who's that? Who cares, man? Just let us talk. Let us have fun. We want to play with our
All right, well,
plastic toy soldiers, you know.
Why don't we there's 10 minutes, 10, maybe 12 minutes. Why don't we
Hang on, because I mentioned the thing about him mentioning the flying vultures and then them turning into gargoyles within his dream. Again, it's all based around well, I think it's based around symbology.
Yeah.
So it could be something else.
That was only a symbolic thing he was talking about. Everything else, what he's talking about is like real time. You're talking real civil war, real riots, real burnings. And the only symbolic part of it was the vultures flying over top of the cities. I don't know. Just hear him out. It's only 10, 12 minutes.
I like it, but I'll say this. He's actually changed it now.
Yeah.
He's actually changed. How about that?
That's the
change
thing
that timeline.
That's the interesting thing about if you get a dream where it could be a warning instead of actual showing the future. If you get, like, as an example, a tarot card reading, that is in the moment right now. And if you wait an hour, you'll probably get a different reading because of energies have changed and there is the Matrix done something, or however you want to explain it.
Quantum realm.
Yeah, well, I just don't know why nobody wants to listen to 10, 12 minutes of the guy's free dream.
We'll listen to it.
We've heard it. We've played it like twice today. So
no, nobody wants to heard it.
To get, hey, real quick before the break, to get back to what Monty was saying about energy. One type of energy we kind of have forgotten to talk about, especially recently, is intent.
Yeah, the if you run an experiment, the observer actually entangles with the experiment.
So where are we all putting our creative energy?
What is the intent of the quote unquote government? There's a big question mark over there, and there's a big question mark with the human race. Right? We kind of need to figure this out.
So, Monty, we're coming up on a break. On the other side, do you want me to queue up this 10, 12 minutes or not?
No, not for this show, no. If you could share the link.
Listen, yeah, thanks for taking my call. I do appreciate it.
Okay. Well, HiJacker's left. I just don't think people want to listen to it for 12 minutes, especially if it's time. And if it's been played twice on the radio. On this station already, people don't want to hear it 3 times, but I'll probably look at it a bit later.
I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, the guy looks like the character from Breaking Bad.
The young one or the old one?
Yeah, Walter White.
Yeah,
look alike.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. So
a suggestion there, by the way. He's past the Dana Cloverstone, I think. Yeah. And it's just look. We go through these all the. Remember the guy who predicted Trump? Where's he at? Where's he at now? We go through these year after year. Now I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I actually like it. I bet you guys ran the code. I wasn't around, so I didn't know. But I remember seeing the big Grim Reaper over the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, and people were running a date with that. And so I bet you that was talked about, and nothing happened. But,
well, that's the thing. Like, no disrespect to you, Pony, but was it Comet Alanin? Like all the code you were getting from that. I think because you exposed the code, it nullified the code.
Yeah, that could do.
I wanted to. Did you hear about the 2 pillars that were built in Turkey?
There's the music.
We're on the music. Yeah, we're at the break. So we're halfway through the halfway show of 2020. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. This is Planet Collingwood. We'll be right back after these short messages. Stick around. And welcome back to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, revolution.radio. This is Planet Collingwood, Open Roundtable. My name is Monty Dean. I have been joined by Cortek, Pony, and John Z, or as they say in Canada, Zed. The second half of the show is now being sponsored by my latest documentary into the My Little Pony white supremacist. It's called Das Hoof. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to the website and donate what you can to keep Studio A and B on air 24/7, sharing all this information. Where do we go from here, ladies and gentlemen?
Onto
where
the
are we?
Autobahn.
On the Autobahn, yeah, we drive at 200 miles per hour and don't crash. I have no idea. Oh, also,
Golden Gate Bridge.
yeah, what's going on with the Golden Gate, which is weird because it's orange.
So, Pony, what was your San Francisco tidbit just before that dot? Something about
My
San
little
Francisco.
rant. Well, I only brought that up because of that. Am I muted? The Grim Reaper. There was a video of a Grim Reaper, and I think it was Zachary, the gematria guy. He ran with that, and a couple of people jumped on board with it. That was something I kept track of on YouTube whilst away. Now, well, I think something's happened recently. In Turkey, they've built these two pillars in the middle of the ocean somewhere. I'm not too sure on the details, but it looked like, well, firstly, they said two pillars, and it's apparently going to be this new bridge. And it looks like it's going to be some sort of copy of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. So there's that. And then this Australian company was connected to the two pillars, the construction team, or cranes or something. It was one of the heaviest lifts ever by a man-made machine. All right, they lifted the most heaviest object ever. That got me thinking of Age of Ultron, by the way. But regardless, so the two pillars helped by an Aussie company. Where have I heard that before? Oh, Twin Towers. The buildings were actually helped by an Australian company with these kangaroo cranes.
I saw that something about that too.
Now,
yeah, right. Well,
but hang on, I'll finish. Yeah, there's something going on with San Francisco because they just got this guy called the Golden State serial killer and rapist. You know, ooh, bad. You know, it is bad, but it's got to be symbolic. I don't know. I think it's symbolic, and it's not the Zodiac killer. But there's some sort of like 40-year rampage he went on, and he's like, yeah, I did it, and he's half dead already. So there's something going on with San Francisco right now.
Yeah. Well, it's been going up to. It doesn't surprise me at all because you know they're in lockdown. Which I wonder if they're actually cleaning the streets of all the crap from the homeless people.
Well, yeah, what made me post that thing is when you said that I'd seen an article about the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever, and I don't know what they've done. They've made some alterations to it or something to strengthen it or something like that. But now, like in the slightest breeze, it just moans like a horror movie or something.
So it is.
It does. It just goes ooh.
Oh well.
Apparently, you can hear it from the city.
That's going to be a movie in its making, I'm sure, because it's just really weird that it's. I don't think there's any flat bits in San Francisco. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, they've got mass like the homelessness is, I think, just out of control. There's drugs and there's no public toilets, so they all just crap in the street. And then on the other end, you've got Silicon Valley and the tech heads and all these billionaires. And it's really weird to see the scale of economics from billionaires to homeless people.
Holy crap. There it is. Golden Gate Bridge officials probe singing noise on span.
Oh, it's singing now. Just like a
and
bridge.
Increasing the toll. Toll's increasing. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about the economics. What's it singing? Just like a bridge over troubled water. Shoot me now. That's the only bridge song I could come to. I couldn't think of anything else.
I burn bridges too.
Well, yeah, that's always fun. But it's fascinating, like that type of bridge. They actually have to make it slightly not perfect because, like when troops or anyone marching across the bridge, they have to break step because the vibrations actually. You would have seen footage of a bridge where there was enough wind.
Side to side,
it's just freaking out because there isn't a way of expelling the energy. And so what could possibly, as they've reinforced it, they've changed the dynamic of the vibration through the structure, and now as it vibrates, apparently it's singing, or there's some mermaids stuck underneath.
From July 1, the rate will increase from 35 cents by 35 cents from $7.35 to $7.70.
What, to cross the bridge? And I thought it was crap here.
Hey, the ferryman, the tolls, the Golden Gate Ferry and transit fares.
And that's a lot for the United States.
Outrageous.
Yeah, because like $7.50 here in Australia, US dollars is like I think I could buy a house.
Multi-axle vehicle toll rates will also increase. Say that 3 times fast.
Oh, just reminded me of I think it's Whacking Day where Homer starts his own parking lot on his front lawn and it's $10 an axle, and then that guy from Eastern Bloc's got 24. It's like yay! And then his other car put it in H. Anyway, yeah, that's when the Simpsons.
The old Russian saying, "Zagreb de Lodikniev, put her in H."
In the Russia, TV
That was
watches
really
you.
good, Cortek.
Yeah, I like it. Very nice. Going back to the Simpsons, they actually said, "Oh, we're going to stop having white people voice black actors." I would like to say that shouldn't all the white people be removed because they're all yellow? You have to replace them with all Asians now.
Well, an interesting. I wonder how far they're going to take that because a lot of cartoon characters, they're voiced by older people, and they maybe appear to be children in the cartoon.
Well,
so we're gonna have age, gender.
Oh yeah, we got to get there eventually, don't we?
Age, gender, and race specific voice actors.
As I said,
that's gonna be a nightmare.
As I said in the last hour, I put it to you: if anyone makes a movie about Hitler, does that mean we have to hire a Nazi?
Let's take it further, and you can't see people acting anymore. People can't act as anyone else anymore. You have to get real people.
Well, deep fakes, yeah.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson.
Whatever shall spies do now?
Scarlett Johansson.
You could be in your own movie. Deep fakes, literally. Us could be in the Avengers, guys. Come on.
Well, what's going to happen in Doctor Who? Who's going to play a Dalek? I mean, it's insanity. But Scarlett Johansson, if you say her, and I just like looking at her. She's lovely. She lost a job because she was going to play a transgender man, I think, or a transgender woman. She was going to play a transgender, and everyone freaked out. It's like, well, yeah, taking away. The thing is, they say, oh, you're taking away jobs from other people that have that. We'll put forward someone who's good enough, who can act like that. This is from Bill. Yeah, this is from Bill Burr's Paper Tiger special. Who played Walt Whitman? Bryan Cranston?
Yeah.
Yeah. He played a quadriplegic, and people complained. He's an ableist, and he's taking away jobs from how many quadriplegic actors do you know? Christopher Reeve passed on.
That would be extraordinarily cruel.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how many acting jobs you've got? Oh, 2. I've been doing this for 20 years.
We have to burn more copies of What's Eating Gilbert Grape because they're not real. He's not real.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, who can play who's going to play Thanos? Because does that mean we have to find a demigod to play Hercules?
That might inspire a whole new era of space exploration. Turn out really bad.
We are from Earth. We're doing a cattle call for. No. You don't understand. We're not here to plunder your planet, but we're looking for someone who's charismatic and is good on camera and can remember lines. Hello, we're from the Palladians. Oh, I can see you in a Tepex ad.
Not purple enough.
I swear, I have the solution for this, right? Minimum service, 2 years for everyone under the age of 25. And it doesn't even have to be military service. You get a 90s drill instructor in there, oh, man.
Well, my question is to you, sir. Will they be wearing... Yeah, but will they be wearing brown shirts in this idea of yours? Because I was like, I think they tried that back in the 30s. Yeah, also children shall join my youth club.
Spandex, activewear.
Oh yeah, due to safety, it'll be bright orange or yellow or green.
Go pick up that bazooka over there.
Interesting enough, here in Australia, like because of the workmen, you all have to have to glow in the dark clothing, and everyone's wearing either green or yellow or orange.
Oh, so you guys are having a rave 24/7, huh?
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. But I think it's more divide and conquer instead of just picking one color. No, you have two choices: lemon or orange.
Yeah, you only got Mountain Dew or crab juice.
Lasting gobstopper.
It just keeps going and going and going. But that's the
Now,
ridiculousness
you
of
said
it.
the theory about Snowpiercer, the movie?
No, because that's been made into a Netflix serial now as well, hasn't it?
Oh,
I
dude,
didn't think
the one
I
with
didn't
Willy
think much of
Wonka?
it as a movie.
The
Yes,
one with
John
Willy
said
Wonka?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you
yeah,
like
yeah.
it?
Yeah, that is an interesting theory. The
Yeah,
movie was good for what it was.
I haven't seen the movie, only that theory, but whoever made that YouTube video put the dots together enough for me to go, that's all right.
Yeah, but I'll just have a depressing thought. Who's going to play Santa Claus? Because once you hire someone, he'll have to be fired because he's white.
Well, we'd have to kidnap the real Santa.
Yeah, but he's white, so he can't, and he's got all these limbs. So
Tricky.
I know it's like, and apparently, I mean, it's a Coke, the drink, not the drug. Well, maybe the people out.
Having some sort of stellar effect at the moment. What's going on?
You're what now?
Never mind.
Okay. Well, did you notice that apparently there are people saying we have to pull down Jesus statues because they portray him as white?
There's one. There you go. I reckon. Okay, this is a guesstimation. August, someone's going to rip the horn or cut the horns off the Wall Street Bull. Now, the artist who created the Wall Street Bull, I ain't got his name, but one of his first sculptures he did was of this like beautiful silver horse. What was it doing? It was doing something, and he put it in the Trump Tower. And this was after he put 8 marble statues into the Rothschild building of something. I can't find what those depict.
People have been sharing. People have been sharing on people have been sharing on Facebook a statue of Benjamin Franklin, and I think he's on top of a Capitol building. And so, all these statues are being torn down, and here's Benjamin Franklin laughing his ass off because he's 30 stories high, which I find amazing.
Who's going to tear down the Statue of Liberty?
Well, I think they'll stop by then.
Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Side note on statues in Rome. At the Colosseum, they have installed in brackets, art installation that is a big seated statue of Moloch. Over.
Yeah, because, someone's pointed out, you're tearing down statues. Why is Moloch still allowed up? Or
it's you.
Oh, no, the United States, they've got Satanism is a acknowledged religion or some stupidity. And is it Biomat or Bappet, the goat-headed moron with his fingers up?
Baphomet.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, I just like making fun of him.
I think there's so much enthusiasm in these Antifa groups. We should just direct them to the Georgia Guidestones.
Are you? Yeah, no. You keep saying that they're trying to kill most of the population on the planet. It's like you think it's written in stone. Have you been to Georgia? They're actually in 7 different languages. Babylon Bee, which is a parody website like The Onion, they released a good one as well. An Antifa member punched a mirror because he wanted to punch the Nazi in front of him.
I saw that. That was chuckles.
Yeah, that was good.
I applaud.
Yeah.
I applaud.
And it's not 7 years bad luck now, but yeah. The left-wing fascists. That's a strange term. 2020.
Since we're just changing things to our liking, can I just get like $1 million, please?
Yep. Sure.
Yeah.
Buy crypto.
Yeah, I'll just have a placard saying "Down with squirrels," and I'll protest, and I'll break into a Target and steal 3 monopolies. I think
flying
that's cover.
squirrels. Flying squirrels
with flamethrowers. Yes.
Abracadabra.
Yeah. Ooh. But you didn't say in real money, so I can just give you monopoly money. Yeah.
What the freaking genie that just came out of the freaking lamp?
Oh, my back. Yes. Robin Williams. He was awesome. So, oh well, are we at the point now? It's like, yeah, stuff's happening. So, what's been going on?
Just riding the wave, man.
Yeah, you grab your energy wave. We survived the solstice, and the dates changed, so we're in the 7th month. Technically, we're halfway through the year, and yeah, who knows? People have actually got disaster bingo, and you have a card, and you see what's up. Apparently, in Italy, wild boars found a stash, $22,000 worth of cocaine, and someone actually said, "Okay, who had cocaine sniffing boars for June? Anyone? Anyone? This is the ridiculous."
Sorry, I left it over there. Can I get that back?
Yeah, that's mine. Can you imagine, like, that barbecue would have been fascinating?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
this pig, so it's so addictive. I can't just have one slice.
It just numbs my teeth.
Yeah, I can't feel my face from this burger.
Could that be a possibility, like truffle-fed pig?
Yeah, it can be.
So you could actually do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to.
I'll
give you an example. So, but when you go through med school in the military, they teach you how to fix people. A lot of times they use pigs that are about to die and stuff, and they sedate them and all that stuff. But they're doing stuff to them, and I made a comment, joking comment to one of the instructors. I said, "Hey, are we done with this? Can we cook this up on the barbecue?" He's like, "You really don't want to," and he explained why, and I've been horrified ever since.
I watched the documentary narrated by Joaquin Phoenix, because I think he's a vegetarian. Nothing wrong with that. Just get enough protein, people. But it was called Earthling, and it just went through the industrialization of how meat's created. And yeah, the kosher bit was very interesting because apparently the rabbi comes in once a month and blesses the machine.
Yes, I've been saying this for years.
Yeah. Nothing against the Jewish faith, but just like when you see the cow gets put in and then a bolt into its head, and it's like, oh, that's kosher, just because some guy Cap said, hey, it's all right. Yeah, and then you got and that for the Australians on the call, there's been issues with halal meats as well, and it's all about divide and conquer because I've got this wacky idea. Being an Australian and an American and a Canadian, New Zealander, mainly the West actually, and to a lesser extent British, being from that country and being a citizen of that country, it's an idea. Like when you're in Deutschland, or the rest of the world calls it Germany, which is insulting. There's Germans, but because there's a lot of immigration to the main four, strangely enough, all part of Five Eyes, so we can go down that path. Being an Australian, it's an idea. You've got the originals or Aboriginals, where apparently someone said calling an Aboriginal is now offensive. It's like, well, I've got an offensive word for you, you moron.
Well, let me share something with you guys. I don't care where this dish originates from, but I know it's really popular in Germany. It's called a doner kebab. Let me tell you, that is the best thing at like 2 in the morning when you're freaking pissed drunk.
Yeah. Get a kebab, or you've got a
chicken
soup.
And beef, garlic sauce.
But that's also a gyro or a souvlaki, and it's basically a roast in pita bread. But it's all the same thing. And it's fascinating where different names, but like, of course, when you're been drinking all night and then 2 a.m. like, I feel hungry, and then you wake up and there's garlic sauce all over you.
That's the best part.
And because it looks white, it's like, what the hell did I do last night?
The other favourite, apart from the suva, is the HSP, which is like a layer of meat topped with a layer of chips, topped with a layer of 3 different sauces of your choice.
Sounds like heart attack.
Allow snack pack, sorry. That's what it means.
Yeah, or just your average slice of pizza. Strangely, we do have hot dogs here in Australia, but they're not that popular as like in New York or anywhere else. So
They're horrible, man. They're the worst creation man has ever come up with.
Yeah, it's not the highest quality meat they put
Has,
in there, is it, in that skin sock?
Yeah, no. Have any of you? Oh, jeez. Has any of you guys, been hunting or been to a house that had, fresh meat stored from a kill?
not really. I've got family members who are farmers, but they just tried to kill all the mice. So no, there is hunting in Australia because there's a lot of space for it. But like early days of Revolution Radio when I came on, you're Australian, you lost all your guns. I don't remember seeing a gun in my life. So no, only on television. But from my experience, I've never seen like you go out into the bush for 3 days and come back with 17 kangaroos or something. Yeah.
Point being is that when you're actually hunting an animal to sustain you and your family for like a year. I mean, because that's basically what you get out of it. You store it in a freaking freezer and you eat it for about a year. It is like the best freaking thing you can imagine. It tastes nothing like the meat you're used to from a store.
Yeah.
Is that like something the size of an elk or something for a year? Because I've been on a farm and hunted and skinned little things, but nothing big like that, and never had to store anything big like that for a big amount.
Oh yeah, man, you get once you butcher it, you got to hike it out of there, and it's a couple guys, with coolers on their back in their packs,
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
What I find interesting is back in the day, which is what those young people say, but like colonial times in the United States, where the buffalo nearly went extinct because all those idiots from Europe, it's like, right, shoot that, take the skin and leave everything else. Meanwhile, the natives would use everything that a buffalo produces.
It's a lot of meat.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're huge. We have water buffalo, which my own experience is from Crocodile Dundee. I do apologize. Where it's like a minivan with spikes.
Yeah. Well, how would you describe a rhino then?
Respectfully.
Rhino's just a freaking tank.
And all that horn is actually hair. I'm like, whoa. Like this is why they don't have, hippos. They're actually more dangerous. And which it's what those cute little things, yeah, but they'll eat you. They're like dwarves.
Just like seeing one is like, oh god.
Yeah, and we have in Australia something called a wombat, which is like a small bulldozer.
I'm familiar with the wombat.
Yeah, they destroy cars. Like if a wombat decides, I'm going to cross the road now, and your car hits it, it goes, what was that? And continues to waddle off. They're just
like the armadillos. That's like the armadillos in Florida. Like you'd hit one of them, and like your car just skates over it, and you're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Mentioned...
Just very quickly, boxing kangaroo, no, they'll rip the crap out of you with their legs. Don't pick a fight with a kangaroo. Go ahead, Pony.
The wombat, a fossil of a modern wombat, giant extinct cousin, was found in the US museum last week. Wombat.
On holiday? How did it get
to the museum?
Yeah.
They just
50
found
years
it again?
after initial discovery.
Blow the dust off. Oh, here it is.
Oh, well, the Smithsonian's full of that. What are all these giants doing here? Get out.
Put the covers back on those ones.
Yeah, I've seen some photos. Now, it's very hard to see if they've been photoshopped, but there's photos from Russia where, like, they're, 10 feet tall, standing next to a guy who's 5 feet. It's like, wow, there's your height privilege. Yeah, when the giants come back, what are the people with height privilege are going to do? Like, I look up to you. Well, clearly.
There's a Rasputin movie coming out. Where did I see that? Is that new Kingsman? I think it is. Let me double check that.
Well, that's the other thing. Hanging around Andrew Bartzis and his shows, he's pointed out that all the movies have been on hold, so we probably won't get any good movies till the end of next year because they're not being made, and so Hollywood's taking it from behind in a certain way.
Anything in the last couple of years count as good movies, then I don't think we missed much.
All right, you're not going to get any movies.
No. The Kingsmen comes out mid-September, and it's based off that spy comedy stuff where the first one was Samuel L. Jackson, who was the villain, and he controlled 5G and he made everyone go crazy. That was the first one. I think the third one's coming out now, and also another movie coming out shortly in August called Greenland, and it's got Clive Owen in it. No. Jared Butler. Goddamn, always get them wrong. Jared Butler.
It's one of those.
Sparta, and it's about comet impacts upon Earth. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, hopefully it wasn't a sequel to London Falls, Greenland Falls, like what Dave fell over. Like, not many people live in Greenland.
Spoiler alert: there's a seed vault there apparently, and that's what they're going for to stay safe.
That makes sense. Both those Kingsman movies have pretty good production values. Greenland, interesting. Did you know there was a THULE or Thule or Tool base up in the top northwestern corner of Greenland?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Does a word mean anything?
I've heard it before.
Thule Society.
Yeah, they apparently spoke to the Nazis in the 20s, and there was a group of women that had like 9 feet of hair,
and they just disappeared.
Yeah,
what if they just went up the top of what if they just went up the top of Greenland?
Well, maybe, because it's been said that there's a Nazi base, actually real Nazis, not people like me who hate The Last Jedi.
Isn't there an ice wall they have to get over or something?
Well, no one can prove that yet.
Can't prove anything.
No one's allowed down there with cameras.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing where it's like, most of I don't care now. It's like, I live in a hologram. That just, all the worries just go away. Like, yeah, on a conscious level, it's holographic. So let's not worry about things I can't figure out. Like,
just remember, Jared Butler's last disaster movie was pretty bad. So don't expect anything.
It was a disaster, was it? Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing. Like, I try and not engage with people here in Australia that have Trump derangement syndrome, because like they have no choice. Like, can you vote for the president? Then shut up.
Yeah. And the whole of the UK that's being caught up in that as well, being manipulated to have that attitude. The bombardment of media abuse in the UK is just off the hook. Radio, TV, it's just relentless.
Are you aware that in the United Kingdom you have to pay for there's a television license, and that money goes to the BBC?
Just another tax.
Well, it's been there for decades, and they're thinking about getting rid of it because they've gone extremely woke, and then no one's watching it. So instead of taxpayers, like say the ABC, where that's being cut as well, but I don't think anyone's watching it.
They've been up to the ABC for years. But TV's changing. No one's really watching it anymore. Free to air, that's all changing. That's changing. TV production, that's changing. Advertising, that's changing a lot of things in the background.
The amount of YouTubers that have like a Stephen Colbert. No, Stephen Crowder. I do apologize. The good one, not the bad one. Crowder has, I think, 4 million subs on YouTube. And he gets, 500,000 people watching videos and everything else like that. So the alternative media, which is not us now anymore, we're like the alternative media, but the mainstream media is dying because they're still like, I haven't watched any late night television from the States. Maybe Conan, I could watch him a little bit, but everyone else, it's been 4 years of like, Orange Man bad. Orange Man bad. There's people who hate Trump don't watch it anymore because they've heard it so many times.
Well, just that whole late night format just seems so done. It's so you got the guy over here on the desk, you got the band over there. Steve Vizard in Australia just completely copied that one night, and we went, oh, where did this show come from? But it came from, a history of another 10, 20 years of it being done in America. Yeah.
Yeah, it was ripped off from David Letterman. And it can work because you sort of need the variety and everything else like that. But it's the way that it's done, where it's the acts and the guests you have on, where Colbert is very left-leaning or anti-Trump, and it's all, if you won't see conservative ideas. I'm not a big fan of the labels, but it just makes it easy to describe things. There's a sentence, clip that. Where it's, I mean, language warning. He referred to the president as Putin's cock holster. I'm like,
Oh, that's straight out of the 90s right there, drill sergeants.
Get
him on!
Shut your effing beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is supposed to be a comedy routine on a national-wide show that is watched by millions and is all revenue, and it's been 4 years of Orange Man bad. And like, find another joke. Even like Dave Chappelle says, "Why don't you make fun of Trump? Because I'll get lost in the din because everyone else is."
I'm so sick of politics being raised to celebrity status. Oh my god. Getting in the way of good jokes. I mean, they're providing, a few good jokes, but really.
Oh, well, Hollywood's in its own bubble and it's been exposed, and a lot of people in Hollywood are missing that attention, and they're getting cravings, and so they're starting YouTube channels. Like, you're a multi-millionaire. Why do you need a YouTube channel? What, so you can stay relevant?
Maybe half of it's on credit.
Oh, well,
those limousines out front don't pay for themselves.
That this is true, but mind you, ratings is like no one's. Have you seen what the Oscars are doing now? They're actually got diversity, not application, parameters for things. So yeah, if your movie doesn't have a transsexual, gay, amputee Eskimo
token.
It can't be put into the running to win an Oscar or something like that. Remember when the Oscars used to be about good movies? I don't.
No.
Those new rules are just going to make things eat themselves and just be devoid of anything at all.
Yeah. If you're on Twitter, follow Alyssa Milano, because if you want to see someone slowly slip into madness, she's doing quite well. Where like Trump's evil and I support Joe Biden. What the demented git who keeps sniffing girls on national television. Good for you.
He's creepy.
Yeah, I saw a clip of Joe Rogan sort of do a reaction to Joe Biden's one of Joe Biden's speeches or something like that, and I think he got 20 seconds in and said, "Right, stop. He can't be president," because he couldn't form a sentence.
I think we need to have age limits on politics in general.
I was just about to say that.
Over a certain age, you forget about making things for the whole, and you're just starting to look after yourself. And I think that's a lot soon. I mean, how old are these guys? 70, 80, 110?
Yeah, it should be like 70 max is the freaking cap, if that.
I reckon we rounded off about 12, 7 to 12. Get all those big ideas out there.
Ice cream vendors everywhere. There's an idea.
Idea.
There's some great stuff coming out.
Yeah. Everyone should own an Iron Man. Yeah. Okay. There is a push to have term limits in Congress, because like Joe Biden's been in politics for 47 years. Can anyone name something he's actually
47.
achieved? Yeah. And he keeps blaming the system. Oh, the system's corrupt. What, the one you've been in for half a century? Fascinating.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
no one should be allowed in who wants to be in there, frankly.
Yeah, well, that's the whole system's corrupt, and I sort of egg on people like, oh, Trump needs to do this. It's like, yeah, cool. If Trump's arrested and whatever, he's taking everyone with him.
I think Lewis Black had the best solution for the next president. You get a chimpanzee, you get him to throw a dart on the map. Wherever that dart goes, you hook the chimp up to a parachute, you push him out, and the first person who he touches is now the president.
That's the coolest idea I've ever heard.
I did like one idea that Michael Moore had, which was in the late 90s. He was trying to get a ficus tree elected to Congress. And if he was successful, the entire Congress building would be full of trees.
Did you see that opera house they filled with trees and played an orchestra?
No, but
well, small plants, not exactly trees, shrubs.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling they would have enjoyed it.
Would be great. If they had any of those plants hooked up, you could tell. They love that stuff. I don't know if any of them would bloom, but.
No, well, there is plants. There is a level of consciousness to plants, and you can play certain music to them, and they enjoy it. There was experiments where a scientist lit a match, and the plant flinched.
Yeah.
And then he pretended to light the match, and the plant flinched. It was like, oh, hang on.
They cut a bit of the leaf, and they had all the diodes hooked up. And then the next time, even that guy walked in the room, the plant registered something, so it could tell the different people, kind of thing. There's something called MIDI Sprout, I think it is, and it's like a little Kickstarter device that they made, and actually you hook it up to your plant, and then you hook the other end up to your synth or some kind of MIDI equipment. So if you had a MIDI signal coming in, you could hook that up to any instrument you want, kind of thing, and it kind of, your plant makes music, which is pretty cool.
Which would be better than half the pop music out there today.
Unless it's all screaming all the time.
Water, I need water.
So thirsty.
Yeah, there's a meme around like kids today are very upset because your music sucks.
I agree.
It hasn't gotten better. And I understand my parents' generation going, your music sucks, because I guess they were coming from big band, live music, where you basically got an orchestra making people dance, to Walkmans.
Hey, how old are you? Like, were your parents born in like 1900? Are we talking about square and box dancing here?
Yeah, square and box dancing, barn dancing, barn storming, we used to call it.
Like, I'm imagining like the 60s and the 70s. Like, there's some good music in there. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, I mean, the big band was a bit further back, but I mean, generally, yeah. I mean, people these days can't even be bothered learning an instrument, No,
and also there's been because there's a formula. Most pop songs have the same three notes. They keep using the same melody, and that's why everything sounds the same. That's mainstream music. Then you have a band like Meshuggah, where it's like jazz metal on crack.
Sounds cool.
Well, the hi-hat's in 4. Everything else is in different timings, and it's like, how the hell did they create that? But you have people tell me, oh, metal music sucks, and yet you still have Metallica touring. Slipknot can fill out stadiums. If you've heard Slipknot, angry young men.
Metal bands, they always have the best percussion, though.
yeah, they like to hit things, and it's it's aggressive, but sometimes in a positive way. They keep saying that rock is dead. And it's like, well, has someone told the Foo Fighters? Because they keep going on 4-year tours and selling out stadiums and doing 3-hour sets.
Speaking of rock, so just a suggestion here. If you've never heard of the band called Highly Suspect and you like rock music, check them out.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
Comments from the Z. But what type of rock?
I don't know how to classify them. They move around the place, but good music.
Oh, okay, cool. Because there's a band called the Pretty Reckless. They're popular at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, the lead singer is very easy to look at. Let's be fair, but she can sing.
Nah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being a male again. But it'd be interesting to see where, like that industry, most of entertainment's been kicked in the nuts, especially live music, because unless there's a vaccine, we won't be able to have live music for a while. And we're all in house arrest, and people are getting stir crazy, and they're going to start losing it, which I think is going to play into whatever's going to happen in the next 6 months. Let's just make it to the election, and hopefully, if it's Biden, do you think Biden will make it to the election? Yeah,
that would be
fair
funny. But if that does happen, no. But if that does happen, who do they have in the wings?
well,
But,
that's
you
the
know, he's old enough to fall down, as you know, or something. You know.
Yeah, because they're saying, oh, he'll get a lady for the VP, and I don't see him lasting. Like Trump's just he's on something because he is 76, and I think he sleeps 3 minutes a night, and he's doing all this stuff. And I can't see Biden doing it because I've watched The West Wing. That's the closest I've got to American politics, and it never ends. You hardly ever sleep because there's always something because you're the president, and that's just day to day of like meeting people or opening things or talking to specialist groups. Let alone, you know, if something comes up like a cyclone, typhoon, hurricane, it's all the same thing, different words, or a war or anything else like that. I don't see Biden doing any of that.
He's bloody old though.
Well, yeah, and you can tell because he's got an original. Well, he's had a facelift apparently, but the mind's gone.
Yeah.
it's thank you, Batsman. Joe Crash and Burn Biden. Yeah.
again, Lewis Black for president. But yeah, he had another great idea. We nominate a dead president, and we elect him in, and we prop up his casket, and we swear him in and all that. And I guarantee it'll be better than what we have.
Be less noise. I like that idea. You could charge for strings attached, have a webcam service going.
I can't remember which comedian it was. He was a black, because you can't say African American now because apparently the black people just don't come from Africa. Who would think it? However, he just pointed out that he pointed out that Trump is the most blackest president the United States ever had, and he just goes through all this stuff and is like, yeah. And the latest one is like, it's a long list, and the latest one now he's got an arrest warrant out on him. So
I could totally see Trump, in the ghetto playing, ball with the homies on the court, in his 20s. I totally see that.
Yeah, I can see it. That just reminded me of something. This happened today, so maybe in the last 5 to 6 hours, a medical facility in Tehran exploded. There's a lot of oxygen tanks there, and I didn't know any more than that. But yeah, you could see the smoke plume from miles away. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's Iran, and it's a medical facility. Like, I wonder. Well, just let the conspiracy brain start ticking away. So I guess we'll wait and see what that's happening. Mind you, I'm getting sort of tired. Not of the show. I'm enjoying that. We've got about 10 minutes to go. But after this last 6 months, it's like, really? I'm with Pony. Vote for an asteroid. Just bring an asteroid and like let's all ascend that way, and then we can move on.
So you bring me back into the conversation?
Yeah. Well, we're talking about rock.
Yeah, good one. Metal.
Well, didn't NASA say, "Oh, we found an asteroid belt and it's full of gold"? I'm like, we'll just put that with everything else you've said.
I like that idea.
Well, never a straight answer. So
was the Diamond Planet real?
Who knows? I mean,
it's a nice story.
NASA, not another secret agency.
Listen, I don't care. I don't care about any of these planets. All right, find me the marijuana planet.
The donut.
We're on it. We're on it.
I actually watched the comedy series Steve, what's his name? But it's called Space Force. I smiled twice. I didn't find it funny at all, but there was they dropped a little bit of truth in that. It's like, well, NASA was full of Germans when it started, or something like the whole project Paperclip.
Yeah.
That seems to be in the mainstream lexicon now, but it's glossed over. Oh, they were Nazis. So like, wait, what? Hang on, are they still there?
You'll find that most of history is off, though.
Well, yeah, history is just completely whack. Like the mud floods and the Tadarian thing, that's never been in my timeline. But there seems to be evidence of it, and who knows? Especially now, I think since World War II, it's a little bit easier to see history. But before that, because there's no internet or webcam or anything else like that, it's very difficult to sort of know exactly what happened. Like Turkey still won't recognize the Armenian genocide. Yeah, no, 2 million people all went on holiday.
Never happened. Never happened.
Yeah. Even there's a show called The Young Turks who still.
Or the South Bronx.
Yeah, well, here's just a friendly reminder. I'm not saying yay or nay. Remember, if you weren't there, you don't know.
Yeah, fair call.
Well, that's the level we're at now. Even today, like, we've arrested the man that killed George Floyd. Why does his hairline look different and the shape of his ears completely different? Really? That's
He's Dumbo.
Well, he's dumb.
Would that extend to a new rule on society then? Only live news can be reported?
But even then, who knows? Well, they tried that. Remember where it's like Syria's being bombed and it turned out to be a gun range in Tennessee.
Oh, that's amazing.
Or something like that. It's like, really? Or during the COVID crisis, excuse me, people are walking along the beach. And it's like, wow, Florida and California at the same time in the same clothes and the same people. That's interesting. So, yeah, everything's just being pulled down. So there's an element of chaos. But here's a question for you. The world seems to be in chaos, but there seems to be an order to it.
Yeah.
This is why I only do one show a week, ladies and gentlemen. I've got an idea. Yep.
Well.
What else? Let's have a discussion. All right. Thanks for coming. From the great LA Story written by Steve Martin. He actually rewrote that script 24 times, and you can tell, unlike The Last Jedi, zing, got to get that in. But there was a scene, it's like, this is Mary. She's actually at the USC, and she's doing a diploma in conversation. Is that true? Yes.
I remember that.
It's a good one. Oh, it's the late 80s or early 90s, but still, I like it. Now, we've got about 7 minutes to go. Let's just do a little bit of chin wag, I guess, because I could say final thoughts. With the way this show's been going for 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm fine. See you next week.
Final thoughts? What do you mean final thoughts? What are you trying to say?
Oh, yeah, the military man. What do you mean? Do I have a cigarette? A blindfold? Final thoughts? What's going on? Why are there 6 men in uniform with pea shooters in front of me? Why am I German? I don't know. Is that racist of making fun of Nazis from World War II? Why is it you keep making? Well, that was a bit of Gough Whitlam.
That's an interesting case of selective racism all by itself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It used to be you can make fun of Nazis, but now not so sure. Or everyone's a Nazi. Like the word racist is losing its power.
I'm pretty sure me being a patriot makes me automatically a pig Nazi.
Well, it's the thing.
Because of the paperclip thing.
What happened?
What? Because of the paperclip thing.
We will send a man into space, yeah?
I'm still thinking about that idea about how to select the president by dropping the monkey in the first person.
Oh, dude, it's brilliant.
I love it so much. I'm just thinking back to kind of dressing up monkeys in suits, and then giving them kind of peanut butter to make them look like they're talking and stuff. That stuff's fun.
I'm going to play the woke card and say what type of monkey. Because if it's not an orangutan, what do you have against orange people?
They're just a bit hairy. Langy.
Can the monkey have a virus as well?
Let's
see. You get this position, but it's
okay,
like a
Dennis
terminal
Hoffman.
Position.
And not one monkey, get 12 monkeys. Yeah, I've seen the film. And I'm sure, yeah, orange orangutan bad. See, I can just see the left's just like, if you get an orangutan in to choose the president, well, he's just working for Trump. So.
Monkey magic.
Easy pony.
Anyway.
I remember the story. I remember the story of an orangutan was shaved down and was found in a brothel. And if do you remember its name, Pony?
What? Why are you implicating me in your crimes?
Because
you should all hang up now if you don't want to become an accomplice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, her name was Pony. That's why I remember it. It's like.
Jeez, man, you picked a bad name. My Little Pony, a pony that tortured orangutan in a brothel. Like,
I wasn't meant to be here for this long.
I just popped in to say hi, and all of a sudden we're talking about Nazis and NASA and a shaved down pony, and it's all about Nazism.
Come on, Comet.
Yeah, come on, Comet. Yeah, like, asteroid. Well, yeah. All right, now we've got 3 minutes. So, passing thoughts, final comments. Good idea for a soup.
Quantum.
What type of soup would you like? Quantum? Ooh. You can get entangled with it. Cortek?
Jay-Z?
Yeah. Okay. So, don't give up hope. Don't automatically hate a person that may be opposed to you. But most of all, try to see things a little bit detached. If you're looking at everything 2 feet in front of your face, you don't get much peripheral vision.
Yeah, and breathe. You're still alive. You're here. You're human. You'll adapt. I like that insult well, it's not an insult, it's command. It's like, oh, why is it? You're a human, adapt. Come on. We've been doing it for thousands of years.
Take the idea, separate it from yourself, look at it, turn it around. It's not necessarily part of you.
And find the comedy in it, because, like, if you step back from the political system, especially in the United States, it's hilarious. Like, I haven't watched many Trump speeches, but he's a very good stand-up comic. Like, you can tell, I think by now he's trolling the left, where he says something and that's the soundbite, and he says things so he can get the soundbite. So the troll in chief.
I'm perfect for that job.
Well, I know a monkey that I'm throwing out of a plane, so I'll throw it at you.
Oh.
Can we get a Kickstarter campaign and just do the monkey part?
Due to voting corruption, we are now going with the primate initiative, where
no one's interested in looking politics anymore, and over to the monkey.
Yeah. And they're not called bananas, they're called yellow tree dicks. So there you go. Yeah, get you to call in next week. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, HiJacker. Thank you, Pony. Thank you, Cortek. Thank you, John Z, as they say in Canada. Thank you, everyone listening. We didn't delve deep that far, but I think sometimes Planet Collingwood needs to just talk crap and be lighthearted about stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it all. I know I did. If you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share. I actually have a donate button now on my YouTube thing, so give me your money, all of it. I wonder if the subliminal messages work. And Planet Collingwood will be back in 6 days and 22 hours, because that's how we lol. And not sure what's coming up next. So maybe 2 hours of Zen, and then Kelsey Sweet with Cultivating Consciousness is on. So yeah, this is Revolution Radio. Please donate to all of us, because help a brother out, y'all. Yeah. So. Yeah, and we've got time to spare. Yeah, so I don't have spare change. I've got time.
Who's the timekeeper here? What's going on?
Time's an illusion.
Yeah.
Clocks
sure.
are real.
That's why your clock's like 2 minutes slow, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I live in the past, and yet I'm from the future. Figure that one out. But yeah, I like it. Time's an illusion.
You kind of broke my Skype when you sent me that message last, because it said tomorrow and it was exactly at 12 a.m. and I looked at it and you sent it at 12 a.m. So I'm a little bit mystified.
The practical jokes of a Time Lord, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Well, there you go. That was Planet Collingwood, and you've been awesome. I've had fun. And what else? I was going to say something else, but no, it's gone from me. So we're just riding it out. Should be music soon. And yeah, see you all. Just stay healthy and stay awesome.
Nice one.
Yep. And is it Pony? What? Yes.
Danke.
All right. Yes. There's the music. All right, we're out of here. Love you all, but from afar. See you soon.